Elon Musk cries fraud on 20 million in Social Security database over age 100. Why audits show few have taken benefits. I think, I'm not sure if I have the image actually pulled up. I think they have it here. Here you go.
Yeah.
Elon Musk says, according to the Social Security database, these are the numbers of people in each age bucket with death field set to false. Maybe Twilight is real and there are a lot of vampires collecting Social Security. I love how he put death field set to false because, like, there's a lot of people who don't know what that means. I know someone's going to comment right now on the show and be like, we know what that means, Tim. No, trust me. There's a bunch of 50-year-old moms who are like, death field set to false? What does that mean?
I don't know what that means.
You know what it means?
It's a gaming thing?
No, in coding, in Social Security database, it'll say death equals true, false. If death equals true, the person's dead. If death equals false, it means they're alive. So if the death field is set to false, it's saying that there's 120,807 people between the age of 160 and 169. Look at this. There's a bunch of 220-year-olds. What Elon Musk has found.
They're in the Senate, probably.
I mean, look at this. There's 6 million 90 to 99-year-olds. There's 3 million 110 to 119-year-olds.
It's like 17 million that are over 100, right? Right? No, for real. I'm like trying to count it in my head.
It's over 20. It's 20, 23. So you've got...
that's a lot of money.
Yeah. 20. Is it 23? 23 million. 23 million over the age 100. The New York Post says... Elon tweets it, maybe tell it's real. However, Musk bombshell has long been known by the SSA, which released an audit in July of 23 showing that 18.9 million people listed as 100 years or older but not dead were in the database. Only 86,000 people living in the U.S. at the time were actually centenarians, according to the census. So why do we have this? I mean, how is this possible?
So I used to be on Medicaid. I grew up very poor and my parents died when I was in my teens. So I was on Medicaid for a while. Would not wish it actually on anyone because it's a real pain. But I entered Medicaid because a van was parked outside my house and I showed them documents that didn't make mathematical sense. But I was like I was 18 years old and I didn't know, like, they asked me for pay stubs or whatever. And I just sort of was like, here, and none of the math added up. And I was really panicked about it and they didn't care. And they put me on Medicaid in New York State.
Boy.
And I mean, like the math, like I was getting paid under the table. And so I wasn't able to make my rent according to the pay stubs that I gave them. They never asked any questions. So then I was on Medicaid in New York. I was on Medicaid in New York for like probably 10 years. I stopped submitting the paperwork to stay on it because I didn't need it anymore. And they just kept me on the rolls. Like I could not, it was Hotel California. I could not exit. I might still be on Medicaid in New York. I don't know. Someone can like Google and figure it out.
They don't want to lose the benefit. They don't want to, yeah.
No. And so it was Hotel California staying on Medicaid in New York State. I imagine it's the same with all of these government programs, that why would anyone say, like, be honest and say, actually, I don't need my great grandmother's Social Security anymore. Thanks very much.
How do you cash it though?
I mean,
I suppose it's signed over. They're forging signatures.
Yeah, for the benefit of, I mean, it's like, so my mom died when I was 16, so I got Social Security benefits, and it was just signed into the name of my guardian at the time. And I imagine it's the same thing, because it's someone who's...
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
If someone's listed as, as conservatorship or something like this, then...
And my aunt actually stole all my Social Security money as a result.
Ugh. Wow. That sounds like what Elon Musk is talking about, Social Security fraud.
Yeah. Sorry. And then I tried to get Social Security to investigate it because my aunt did commit Social Security fraud. And my caseworker, and I'm not being mean, I'm being serious, was mentally retarded and couldn't understand anything. And I have notes that he wrote, and he was like, he had the reading level of like an 8-year-old probably. My 7-year-old writes better than this guy did. And I was like, why don't you just go to her house and ask her why she took my money? Did you try doing that? He's like, I did, but she didn't answer the door, so case closed. Sorry. And that was it. My aunt made $23,000.
Think about it. You are a corrupt government official and you want to make sure you cover your tracks. What do? You hire everybody in your department to be below average so that there's no actual way to deal with it, because they're going to go to these investigators and these employees and be like, why didn't you stop this? And they go, stop what? Yeah. Well, this man's not 150. That money's going nowhere. Really? Yes, there's no one alive that's 150, but it says they're alive. Oh, my God. How do you deal with that? You can't do anything.
Yeah.
I wonder if they can cross-reference the people who are 150 and their voting records.
In Chicago, it'll be 100%.
It would be how real. It would be really cool though if they were like, we looked into this and found that most of their addresses were in the sewer, and then they go down there and there's a bunch of Morlock 180-year-old pale people with white eyes. But like, we voted too.
They're in that mine that Elon's talking about.
So this might be a bit of an aside, but one of the things that I hear a lot of people criticizing DOGE about is they're doing these audits, and there are a lot of people in government that say, "Oh, these audits are done every year, or these numbers are produced every year, and anyone can look them up and anyone can see them and stuff." And it's like, okay, so why is it acceptable that this waste continues to go on? And if it was known, why is it that no one's done anything about it? I mean, if it's such an obvious, simple thing, and Musk doesn't need to do this because it's audited and these numbers are produced and they're public knowledge and stuff, well, then why is it that nobody in the whole effing government, how come no one said, hey, we should stop doing this?
I like how the New York Post is like, they did an audit 2 years ago, and they knew this already, and it's like, and they didn't fix it?
That's my exact point. Like, this is something that I've heard from multiple people. It's like, well, you know, they do this, and this is Musk doesn't need to do this stuff. This is all everybody knows this, and everybody. Then you all should be fired.
Yeah.
Every last one of you should lose your job.
When I was on Medicaid, I had a dentist who charged Medicaid for like something like 18 fillings. And I called Medicaid and I was like, but you realize I don't have like that many teeth. It was like a crazy number of fillings that they charged.
You do, but not that many molars, right?
It was a crazy number of fillings. And I called to report the fraud and they were like, yeah, he does charge a lot, huh? And I'm like, so why don't you do so? Like, there's just no initiative. And but there's no, I mean, this is the problem with public sector. Like, where is the initiative? Where is the impulse to do anything about it? There's no.
I agree with you, but it does speak to that exact fact that not only does no one do anything about it, but when there's someone doing something about it, they think it's a defense to say, we knew about this. What are you talking about? You knew about this. How is this acceptable? It's because of things like Elon Musk doing this. And another thing that I'll mention that people might not be aware of, but this is not the first time this has happened. A program almost identical to this happened during the Clinton administration.
And during the Obama administration, too, actually.
Oh, was it during the... really? Okay.
Well, I don't know about the Clinton, but I know about during the Obama administration. I have a friend whose husband was working for the Obama White House doing this. Like, he was DOGE.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was fine under Obama.
Yeah. But now it's fascism.
Yeah.
It's so tiring and ridiculous.
And my friend's husband was actually not even a government employee, similar to Elon. He was a contractor in a fellowship that was privately funded. Like, it was literally DOGE.
That's funny.
It's all so exhausting, but it speaks to the necessity of this. Yep. The way people are reacting, it shows that it is absolutely necessary because it isn't going to get better. Like, it's not like if this were done by a Democrat. I don't know that modern Democrats would do this the way that Barack Obama or Bill Clinton did, both of whom were Democrats, by the way, in case you've forgotten. I don't know that a modern Democrat would do that, considering they have had such total control over the slush fund. Yeah. But if they were to decide to do it, I don't know the results or the reactions would be any different. It would still be the sky is falling, the sky is falling, the sky is falling. And it's better to do it now with an adversarial administration that's adversarial to all of Washington, thankfully.
I was in a cafe earlier today, and I literally heard two women talk. I believe they could have been witches. They were crying over USAID experiments being defunded, literally saying,
"Thanks, Ian."
We were like, they were like, we wanted to know about certain animals and the experiments that were being done on them. Like, are you serious?
Well, those beagles, I mean,
yeah, they're pro Fauci.
Yeah, I mean the bagels, the beagles' faces aren't going to eat themselves. You know, you got to get the flies in there. That's what Fauci was doing.
Yeah, how are we going to know what to put boosters in ourselves?
It is wild that I think all of this fraud stuff in DOGE proves there's a zombie cult, and then there's regular, sane, normal people. Mm-hmm. That the Democratic Party is largely zombie cultists because you have, we'll get into it in a little bit, but you had that woman on CBS say Hitler weaponized free speech to do a genocide. And it's like, whoa. Marco Rubio was like, shout out to Rubio for pushing back. If it were me on there, I would just start yelling like, "What?"
I have
I would have
thoughts.
been dumbfounded. I really would have. It's funny because after they spent like 2.5 weeks calling Elon Musk a Nazi because he went like this, and I'm going to be called a Nazi for doing that, and I'm an Orthodox Jew.
It's okay. That was your left arm.
Oh, okay. So it's like,
But so the issue was, these are people who claim that conservatives want to ban books from schools, just like the Nazis burned books.
Yeah.
But also the Nazis were in favor of free speech at the same time. It's like, look, you don't need that example because y'all have been watching the show and you get it already. But not a day goes by we don't get another psychotic example of they will say whatever they literally have to say to fit in with the opposite. It is,
Yes.
Look, you know what it is? It's bizarro America, right? You've got Superman, and he's strong for, he stands for truth, justice, and the American way. Get out of here, modern woke stupid movies. And then you have Bizarro, who talks backwards and sounds like a moron and is really weird. And that's just it. Whatever the opposite of America is, they do.
Yeah.
So when we're like, we like free speech, so did Hitler. No, he didn't. He burned books, just like you did, you Nazis. It's like, what?
It's exhausting, but it speaks to the fact that the left doesn't actually believe things. To them, every exercise they do is an attempt at a power grab. They will take whatever you consider important and they will twist it to use it against you. I saw a Twitter account that's a leftist, and he's a dirty commie, and he straight up says, he's like, oh, we're in a constitutional crisis, et cetera, and it was very simple to find a tweet from him where he just was like, the Constitution doesn't matter, everything is blah blah blah, and it's like, you don't care about anything other than power. They will take what you believe in, and they do it to Christians all the time. I'm agnostic, but you see them do it to Christians all the time. Well, Jesus would have done this, and Jesus would have done, and it's like, you don't believe that Jesus is the Son of God.
Yeah.
You don't believe that Jesus was anything other than a dude. You are only doing this as a means to exercise power over someone, and you are vile because of it.
Yeah,
they
they
don't
weaponize.
believe in anything.
This was the thing that infuriated me about the Elon Musk stuff with the Nazi salute. They weaponized anti-Semitism while completely remaining silent about anti-Semitism in every other circumstance for the last 16 months. And they're weaponizing this free speech stuff with Marco Rubio, and that's what the Nazis did. I'm sorry. Now we care about the Nazis because they bring up all of this stuff only when it's convenient.
I want to point out one thing that communists have done forever is call everyone they disagree with a Nazi. That is standard playbook.
That was in, I believe Yuri Bezmenov pointed out, and it was also in Rules for Radicals, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
call
Jonah
them.
Goldberg too.
Call them. Yeah, liberal
Accuse your enemy.
fascism.
That is what you are doing, or something.
It's something that most people should understand. When they're calling you a Nazi, it's because they're trying to exercise power over you. It's not that they believe that you're actually a Nazi. And if someone's calling you a Nazi when you're clearly doing something that is not Nazi-like endorsing free speech, it's because they're a commie.
So I wrote a column like 7 years ago, and the headline was, maybe it's time to befriend neo-Nazis. And the whole point of the column was basically you turn people away from hate by embracing them and treating them as human beings and showing them your own humanity. But the headline is kind of clickbait. And I have had that headline screenshot and thrown at me literally 10,000 times. I'm an Orthodox Jew, and I have been called a Nazi more times than I can
By people who are not Jewish and
And
don't
who
know
do not give
anything
a
about
crap.
Germany. And
Yeah.
thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.